All right, desktop one. Open PRs. Looks fewer, and I think some of these are ones we're just waiting on updates for still. Yes. Yes. This one's progressed.
Yeah. I also reached out to the Cyclone DX folks. I was apparently in their Slack, and then some community person reached out, like out of random, just for like, can we do anything to help with the engagement? Whatever, some question like that. And I was like, actually, there's a thing where we're discussing this, what type of SBOM we should be using. So pointed them this direction. They haven't responded, or that person, the community outreach person, said that they would ping the core team or something. I don't know. We'll see what comes from that.
Wow, 34 megs? That's more than I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Not like deal breaking, but that's uncompressed too, I guess, probably. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't. Text files generally compress well, right?
Yeah. Especially when it's a lot of duplicate keys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that one's still ongoing, it looks like. Uh, quiet completion tests.
I'm actually sure that the bots are not dying on us, and that's why there's not that many PRs. So, yeah, I'm gonna check.
There was, I think, almost no done things last week, but I guess the bots could be dying for other reasons.
Yeah, checking.
I
This is why I don't remember. Oh, Aram requested. Aram did something. I don't remember this one from last week, but yeah, still waiting on reviews. Which is, where is this? Bosch CLI?
It is dying, and it's because of the Ali Cloud CPI doesn't have a fields.
Hmm.
Ooh,
So you're
we
telling me
don't
this
have.
is a fake review then?
I don't know about that. It's more apparently the changes to the Ali Cloud. We got a new area, the Ali Cloud area, and there's this area fields in the project, and that needs to be assigned. And apparently, it doesn't have an option for the Ali Cloud. I'm gonna fix it. Area.
Was
Something is
this?
wrong with the article. Yeah, I just couldn't get this. Sorry.
Oh, I because we didn't have many things in the inbox. I was wondering maybe the if the bots would be broken. The sync thing, the sync job. I looked and it's currently choking on the the Ali Cloud area. That's new and that's not in the field.
Okay, I see.
We think this sounds like an approval or not?
Matthias actually promised here to check again with internally whether we use this Remand client or not.
Okay.
Do you have any updates here, Ahmed?
Yeah, he already commented. So they said that they don't know. So he wanted to reach out to the Riemann experts. I think that was it the monitoring team? I'm not sure. And they said that they don't know the Ruby client. Yeah, and they just
This was last week, the update, so he wanted to
yeah.
check.
You know, I asked him. So I was with Matthias just before this meeting, and he did not mention if there's something else.
Okay.
I can ask him again tomorrow.
I don't know. It feels like it probably wasn't pinned back for a good reason, because this was from the era where we were like, let's manually bump all gems all the time and just pin them back to make sure nothing bad ever happens. And so Aram saying that like no breaking changes in the release notes, it probably wasn't actually a major release. They're like, hey, 1.0, sure, why not? It's probably safe, and if it does break something, we can probably just roll it back.
I guess
I
Yeah.
so.
don't-
Yeah, most
I think we have waited long enough.
Yeah.
Also, my name is not going to be attached to it, so.
Still can be.
On the Broadcom address today. This is the bubble stuff.
Yeah.
Still in progress, it looks like.
Mhm. I remembered Johan about this, and he had a comment.
And still some discussion here on other ways to accomplish this without putting new packages in the stem cell, I think. Anybody has thoughts on that, feel free to join in. Interesting. I don't understand what this is. What? So stem build doesn't make AWS stem cells. Bosch agent.
This is about the Windows.
But it's about AWS.
Yeah, but you
Stem
can
build
run
only
Win-
makes Stem build only makes vSphere stem cells.
I see. What makes the AWS ones?
Packer.
Right.
Lots and lots of Packer. I will add myself as a reviewer here and ask Kenneth about this later this morning, because I'm very confused as to the origin of that. All
What
right.
tests did you run?
And community pull request on the agenda put here by Behan. This is about the AliCloud sub-area stuff, which has a good number of reviews. At first, this person was like, I don't know anything about this. I don't want this. And it was like, we're going to add you a second reviewer. So I guess, Ruben, are we waiting on you?
Are we?
Oh,
Maybe.
Or on my internet? Yes, it's done.
I guess one question is, since there's kind of a split in the reviewers here as far as the repos they care about, does it still require 2 reviews to merge something, or I don't know how the rules work?
this is
Speaking of that internet.
so the question is whether TOC needs to approve this or.
Ruben's back.
I'm back. Yeah, it was a blip in my Wi-Fi. But yeah, it's dynamic, right? Like if we would enable the branch protection rules, I think they are based on the number of reviewers in the team.
All right. So then, Behan, you were just asking, does this need the TOC to review this?
No, was I asked whether your question was about
Oh,
this, because I couldn't hear.
no,
share.
sorry. I was just wondering about like, since like neither of them seem to have any context on the other half of the repos, like, do they still need sort of two reviews to merge anything? And
Mhm.
Ruben said for sure the rules are smart and definitely will not cause problems. And if
But
they
we
do,
don't,
Oh,
we don't
I also,
have
yeah, we're not enforcing the rules. So we in this call are the rule enforcers. And
oh, perfect. That's never been a mistake in my history. All right, I'm gonna merge it then.
yeah. Most probably Matthias will, or someone from the Bosch team at SAP should be added as approver also because the storage CLI.
Yeah,
But
it's a little bit weird of a structure because they like it's a very natural structure. Here's the Ollie Cloud stuff, but the people who work on it are kind of split, but seems fine. It's fine for now, and if it's a problem, we'll do something else.
yeah.
As far as I know, Git repos are still modifiable. I took what was in the Bosch Linux SimCell Builder issue and made sort of a formal proposal for people to tear down as far as what to do in Noble about Monet. And generally, nothing. Don't remove Monet, but also make an alternative that's strongly based upon, well, currently, at first it was strongly based, and now it is basically just BPM on the stem cell, and then a sort of top level file next to spec.yaml of processes.yaml that is just bpm.yaml that you could symlink to. At first, my thought was that BPM was still optional here and not on the stem cell, but I actually don't see a good reason not to just put it on the stem cell, just like the agent and all the blob store CLIs. But that's basically it ripped out a lot from the issue because the issue had all sorts of grand plans and it's like, let's just put BPM on, make a new syntax for it. I guess something I forgot to mention is the changes necessary for this. Probably the Bosch CLI when creating a release might need to change. Originally I thought we were gonna have to enable this and the director was gonna need changes, but maybe not, but maybe, yeah. But yeah, here's an idea. It seems like the sort of minimal amount of stuff we can get to start moving away from Monet. There's some ideas from the issue here as far as future things. Some people in the issue were concerned about there's some things that BPM can't do. And I don't think those were enumerated, but like we can see and then expand BPM to support those use cases. There's already a lot of escape hatches. Some of them aren't easy to use, but we can work on that. The issue talked a lot about additional monitoring things other than PIDs, HTTP monitoring checks and things that like we could use. So this doesn't plan to add any of those, but it doesn't rule out possibility of adding those things to BPM and thus into generic job process monitoring via this method. And something probably not mentioned in the issue, but something that does seem not totally unreasonable is, people love Monet summary, but only because they know about Monet summary. Like when I first got on a stem site, I had no idea what Monet was and Monet summary and how to see it. So we sort of, there was some talk of making wrappers that do the same thing, which seems like not a sane thing to do, and maybe just putting commands onto the Bosch agent that sort of aggregate the Monet data and the systemd data and are like, here's what I know about running processes. These are running, these are stopped, whatnot, to give a more long-term central spot to do process monitoring, but also not sort of in the immediate plan, but future ideas. So this is here. If people want to chime in on it, at some point, somebody might start working on it, and then there'd be a PR to review too, or probably several PRs.
I was just wondering whether we want to get higher visibility on this and create an RFC, because all working groups are maintaining push releases and they could be affected by this.
Yeah. I thought about that, and I'm just kind of worried about how slow that process would be to get the feedback. And the fact that it doesn't break anything sort of makes like, I don't know, the implementation of the RFC, like we can change it because you still got Monet for now. But we could also formalize it into an RFC. But I feel like there's a lot of unknowns in here, and then like the RFC, like I don't know, we're gonna have to make just PRs to the RFC as we go, and then I don't know how that works. Like if it's normal to have a sort of RFC that is evolving on a weekly basis.
I mean, we could keep it in a discussion for now, and then once, like, I would assume that maybe some proof of concept work would be started around this. And then, like, once we feel like, okay, this is probably gonna work, then go through an RFC.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess a main reason to do an RFC now is if we thought that people are going to want something radically different, not like, hey, let's tweak this. And then it's like, no, this work has a chance of just all getting thrown away. There didn't seem to be a lot of other ideas in the other issue as far as like possibilities. Now it didn't have, very widespread audience, but it's the what if we just keep Monet or somehow update Monet, sort of that same historical conversation. Which, to be fair, this doesn't actually preclude us from going back to Monet someday. Like this interface, still use BPM, still use process.yaml, just run it with Monet rather than systemd. I think at a high level, this is nice because it gets us away from the jobs knowing about the stem cell, how it monitors processes, and instead has a more generic interface to that. So whether it's Monet or systemd behind the scenes, like release authors shouldn't care, hopefully. Although some releases do reach into Monet to do stuff, but hopefully they will stop that. We'll figure out a better way, maybe with the agent, something else for them to do whatever it is trying to accomplish there.
Yeah, it would be good if some of that, like those agent extensions, like what the agent CLI interface is gonna look like, that would be part of this.
Yeah, I mean, some of that's sort of future because it's sort of unknown at this point and not strictly necessary. But yeah,
I mean,
I
like,
think
but then, like, if you would implement this, you lose sight of half of your processes.
I mean, you lose sight if you're only running Monet summary. You could also run system
No, but-
CTL to see the other half.
Yeah, no, but the agent itself interfaces with Monet to, like, if you do Bosch instances --ps.
Oh,
Uh,
yes. I mean, yeah, the agent's gonna have to know about systemd. It's gonna have to
Yeah.
have an interface for that.
Yeah, it needs to interact with it.
Yeah, that's not.
So
Yeah,
so you would get the aggregated view anyway from Bosch instances --ps.
true. Yeah, so
It's-
really, this work is going to be very little at the end because the agent's already gonna have to know about this. In fact, this seems like it's probably very little work to add now just from the Monet side of things because the agent already has to have code to do that inspection work.
Yeah.
Which is nice. The pattern's already there. You just build on it. Code wise, I haven't looked at it, but like it's probably going to be a little bit weird. Like in a perfect world, you somewhere in the agent, like we did for what did we do recently? Just the systemd at all. There is a config and agent.json of like this is what it supports. The agent does that. But at the same time, you can't easily have like a process. Right now, there's a process monitor object, and it's either the Windows process monitor or the Monet process monitor, but you're going to have systemd and Monet at the same time. So we need an aggregate one. Like, I don't know, like that might get a little bit ugly in the code. have to find some good patterns to do that, because the way it's written now is really nice because it assumes there is one and only one process monitor on any stem cell. But that is no longer true in the near future. So I don't know. Well, not the end of the world, but it's going to require, it's not just like, oh, new process monitor drop in done. We're going to have to do some replumbing inside of the agent.
Mhm.
And on Bosch Light stem cells, we don't have any system D, so
Yes, that is this actually works interesting for that, because like if you are doing this with this generic interface, that would be the first use case for like, well, the agent on there can just keep using Monet or something else to run the processes, because you don't have a system D. So that makes the generic interface actually workable, as opposed to where we were sort of headed before, where it's like, oh, let's just use system D and Bosch Light stem cells are just doomed. It'll be, a branch. It'll be a little bit weird. I don't know if definitely not Noble, but future stem cells, if we're going to have to, eventually just remove Monet, and then is like, well, except Bosch Light. Bosch Light still gets Monet, everything else doesn't. Like, we can do that. We can also come up with other process runners to use instead that the agent could have the same interface for. But yeah, I think there's options there, which is good, because I forgot about that. And so it's nice that suddenly there is an option. I remember that originally and then forgot it while I was writing the proposal.
So basically, the major impact I see here is that Bosch releases will have to stop tweaking with Monet, and they will have to being forced to use BPM. So that's all right, and they'll have to enter to start have their processes being monitored only by their PID. Stop anything else they do with Monet. Stopping. They will have to stop watching at the processes with any other feature from Monet. That's the major impact.
Yeah.
In terms of Bosch release authoring.
In the long
Yeah.
run.
But that's like, this is MVP, right? Like this is getting started, and you could migrate some releases over that are only like doing really basic stuff, but that are already using BPM and are doing nothing special with Monet, right? Like those would be the ones that can move over. And then the other ones we would need future improvements for.
When do we want to release the Noble stem cells?
That's part of the RFC. I thought Q3 this year.
Okay.
And Jammy stem cells are going to exist at least until 2027, most likely, which means that Bosch release authors are still going to be maintaining the Monet stuff until that time. Now, if they've already converted to BPM, the Monet files then is just the BPM run statements, and it's pretty simple. But yeah, the Monet stuff's going to be in releases for a while, assuming that they're supporting Jammy still.
Okay. All right. Good way to do. Good way to go.
It's a step. We'll see if it's a correct step or a wrong step. Any other thoughts, questions on this for now? All right. Take a look at refresh in case the bots have done something. Otherwise, take a look at the issues. So 19th is too long ago. 28th seems recent. 26th, oh, I commented on this. I must have commented on this right after the last meeting. Oh. No, just some additional, this is just a noble thing. This looks new.
Yeah,
Or maybe
We
not.
discussed this.
No, we did it. Yeah. All right. So the 28th we've already looked at. Really? I guess March was a long month. This is Ruben commented yesterday, just more noble future work, which, as we just discussed, we'll have to do something on Bosch light stem cells to make this work. There's only one new issue. No, this isn't even new.
No,
Wait,
could you add that Bosch Light context? to that
that's a good
issue?
idea.
Hmm.
I don't even know why that was the case. Is that still true even nowadays? Or is there solutions? to
System
that
D
problem?
has to be like process 1 or something ridiculous that like in a Warden sim cell, it's like there's already a process 1. That can't be me. But it is possible that there is an alternative now. Like maybe System D has changed. Like I looked at it, I Googled it once like 3 years ago, and that was the extent. I'm like, oh, now I understand. Walk away. This does look new.
We
No, it's
actually
not.
discussed this, and Ramon wanted to look more into this. I
Yeah.
forgot to.
Should probably move it to pending review.
Discussion. Yeah.
Discussion. False positive, first boot. Oh, right. Yes. I remember this.
Oh, you do have context?
I have context because I Googled it, looked at the history of it last week. I went back
Oh, yeah.
to the Bosch repo where this was first added in 2011. And it does, I mean, probably is important. And it does seem like it failing is kind of bad. I don't know why it would ever fail. It doesn't seem like something that normally happens, but like, yeah, sure. Add a dash E. Like, probably seems like a good solution. Anybody got anything else?
Maybe for your information, there is a PR open in the community repo to move the Bosch Prometheus organization repositories into our working group.
As a top level or as like a subgroup of people?
Subgroup with the current maintainers of those repositories.
Makes sense. All right. There's nothing else.
Nothing else.
Thank you all for coming. Have a good week.
Bye bye.
See you. Bye bye.